Here he is. We are back, and Tottenham have a new man at the helm, Antonio Conte, serial winner. But they've had one of them at Spurs before, Don.
They have, but I smile now that Conte's back because I'm immediately thinking about what it's like in that dressing room. And all of a sudden now, be prepared, Tottenham players, to go to work.
Well, do you know what? When we were talking about Conte potentially going to Manchester United, I remember you saying, John, specifically, if he comes in, he's going to be like, you out, you out, you out, don't want you. Yeah. And actually, he'll do the same at Tottenham. He will make those players up their game.
Yeah, and he'll make decisive decisions on what they need to do to get in the side. He'll make decisive decisions on whether they have a future at the club. Interesting to see what he does with Harry Kane. I honestly believe that it's just going to bring it to a head, because it needs to be brought to a head. You either stay or you either commit yourself to long-term to Tottenham and sort it out. Dele Alli is another one. I don't think Dele Alli, if you look at the system, I don't think Dele Alli suits the system. Is it best for him to move on? But he'll make decisions, and that's what lots of managers there shied away from.
What I can't wait for is when that January window comes, he is probably going to go straight back to Inter Milan and go Milan Skriniar, Bastoni, in you come, and maybe one or two more.
Right, Spurs fans around the world, we really want to hear from you. OK, hashtag weekend warm-up. What's going to happen to Harry Kane in January? What's going to happen to Dele Alli? And should he go back and raid his old side for players? Because, Don, I wondered, when he was managing in the Premier League and Dele Alli was kind of at the time at the peak of his powers, would he have looked over at Spurs and said, that's a player I would love to manage? There is a 80, 100 million pound player.
100%, Jonathan. I was in a conversation with a mate of mine on social media, and I was saying at the time, Dele Alli's form, the guy could take his pick across Europe. And I mentioned Barcelona, and I mentioned him quite loosely, but it was when Barca were tick-a-tacker and absolutely flying. But the running style of Dele Alli when he was on it and scoring against Chelsea more or less every single game, and the standard of performances that he was putting in was phenomenal. And it's almost like he's a young player come from NK Dons. He then got to a club like Tottenham. He worked hard to get right to the very top. He got there. Then he took his foot off the gas and thought, this football malarkey's quite easy. It's malarkey. I'll just do what I've got to do. And then all of a sudden, I watched Dele Alli. And maybe it wasn't his fault under Pochettino, who played in a deeper position. And then Dele Alli was going through phases where he got carried away and he was doing a no-look pass. Thinking he's had a good game. He'd do a little Cruyff turn, thinking he's had a good game. He'd do a little trick, thinking he'd had a good game. That's not what Dele Alli's all about. He was a little bit like what Frank Lampard was. You let other players get on the ball. You use your strength because he's 6'2". He's a fantastic athlete. You get off the back of Harry Kane or Son, and you get in the box and you score goals. And if he simplifies his game, Conte can get him back.
But Don, the problem is we've been having this conversation too long. We've been having this conversation going through, the end of Pochettino's reign, and Mourinho, Ryan Mason, now Conte. You can't keep having a discussion about Dele Alli getting back to the good old days when Eriksen was playing with him. You can't get, Eriksen.
Mrs. Eriksen.
I know, but those days are gone.
Does it really tell you more about Dele Alli?
Yes.
Really, if
he needs to look in the mirror.
Exactly.
It seems you can't go through the amount of managers that Leroy's just said there, thinking it's the manager's fault.
And the quality of managers you just mentioned.
But he's not the only one. I mean, there's no surprise that Harry Winks bounced off the bench on Thursday night. He's been injured for the last month under Nuno.
Amazing.
Brand new manager comes in, hey, I'm fit.
It's a chance. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Don. But the thing I'm saying about Dele Alli, conversation we had about Dele Alli, they can't afford to keep having this conversation about Harry Kane, because it undermines everything that they're doing. About, is Harry Kane going to start scoring? Is he going to get back up to speed? He needs to get back up to speed soon, or he needs to move on. I think he will deal with that, because they are so underperforming. That performance against Man United was pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
If they do move Harry Kane on, there's one player, I mean, listen, obviously, I can't read his mind. I'm not sure what you're going to do and who you go for. But there's a player ripping it up in Serie A at the minute called Vlahovic, and he's only 21, and he's 6'5", and he's a runner, and he's strong, and he's brave, and he puts his foot in, and he scores goals for fun. So he will know these players in Serie A. He's been playing against them for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So that's where I think Leroy's right. If Harry Kane's not committing and his body language still wasn't really amazing last night when I watched the Tottenham game. It was okay. It was a little bit better. The start of the game told me everything that I'd seen before when a manager like Conte comes in. There was a bounce. Everyone was running around, closing down. Then they fell back into their old ways. Defending was atrocious. So it's one of them where where you look at your squad and it depends on how you see it, because you go, I can work with him, and the list goes on and on and on. But then you might get a bad Dele Alli, or you might get a bad Harry Winks, or an unfit Ndombele, or a not committed Harry Kane. So I wonder it's on the manager now.
I wonder how many times Harry Kane's name came into the discussion when he had his meeting with Daniel Levy. Let's just move on to the chairman and the appointment of Antonio Conte, because Spurs will need an immediate impact. If they want an immediate impact, they've gone for a manager that can deliver an immediate impact. I mean, this is the season before, you know, Juve and Chelsea and Inter. And if you look at what he's done with those sides, and there would have been
one
some tweaks.
season after.
Wow.
Look at that, that's incredible.
I mean, if you're a Tottenham fan, you look at that graphic there and you think, wowzers.
Yeah.
Like, we knew he was a winner, but we didn't realise he took Juve from 7th to 1st, Chelsea from 10th to 1st, and Inter from 4th to 2nd.
And a lot of people...
I'm not sure I've ever seen...
10th to 1st in the Premier League.
Which is incredible.
I'm not sure of all the elite managers I've ever seen that.
No, you haven't.
I've not. I don't think I've never been seen before.
Yeah, and a lot of people will be saying that, but he spent loads of money. And you look at the stats in terms of how much money he spent, he hasn't. His net spend, I think he spent about 310 million at Chelsea and bought in 270.
About 50 mil.
About 50 mil.
Yeah.
So he's done it in budget. And that's great for Tottenham, because Daniel Levy is tight. We know Daniel's tight, you know. But to get to an elite level in the way that he's done it in such a quick time, he's a top manager.
That's coaching.
That's coaching, and that's development, and that's recruitment. It's all of those things, not just coaching. It's recruitment. It is player management as well, and he needs to bring all those skills to the fore.
And where I think he's smart is he might not see, or he might see a specific player, and you might think, well, he's a winger, but he converted Victor Moses into one of the best right wing backs that Chelsea have had for quite a while. Then Marcus Alonso, he puts the players, and straight away, I read what he'd done on his first day at Tottenham. He put an 11v11 on, both teams playing 3-4-3.
Yeah.
And they matched up, and then he'd done exactly the same against Vitesse last night. So look out for players like Reguilon playing at wing back, Emerson Royal at right wing back, Doherty maybe at right wing back. So you put the players in their correct positions.
Well, Antonio Conte's actually just held his pre-match press conference. Let's hear what he's had to say.
Yeah, I think my contract is not a problem, and 18 months, and we decided by the club. I understood also the sacrifices that this club did for me, and it's okay, but I think that the best things for us, and to work together with the player, with the club, and to understand that we can work together for a long time. I hope so, because I think this club, if you want to work, you can work, because you have a fantastic training ground, and the club give you everything if you ask something to improve the situation of the players. But at the same time, and I know that we need to have patience. We need to have patience, and I'm the first person that I need to have patience. Also because when you work with a team, and then especially if you start, you start of the season, you have 1 month to work and to introduce yourself, your staff to the players. To go into the job during the season is not simple, especially because if you want to bring your idea, it's not simple. But for the contract is okay for me, and my hope and to find the right link, the right connection with this club for a long time, for sure.
Spurs' new manager, Antonio Conte, charming, captivating. His 18-month contract, not a problem for Antonio Conte. Not really a problem for me as well, Leroy. Maybe concerned is the right word, in that it's a big job, it's a big project. He's going to want to attract big players, but his contract's 18 months old. Would that put you off? Is that?
It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. I've had loads, but it's all 18 months. It's too short. What that just suggests is that's a break a time to take a breather and just to reassess. I think there's a 12-month clause, most probably on Spurs' side as well. I think that he was prepared to do that because he's so confident of getting the job right. In all honesty, I think he needs 3 years, and that was suggested to me, 18 months plus a 12-year, just to have a breather and a chat to reassess. But he's impressive. He's impressive in blue, all Chelsea fans, and they know, I spoke to Chelsea fans, they're gutted that he's got to Tottenham. He's impressive in the way that he talks, because he speaks English better than he pretends. That's why he speaks slowly, so he gets people to listen really intently. He does that on purpose. And he's impressive in the way that he sets up team. I think, and it will take time though. It will not happen overnight. He's aware of that. I think it's not just about coaching, it's about recruitment as well. So it's interesting to see what they can do in January, Don, as you said, about maybe going to the Italian market. But then what he's done, he's been added to the best managers in the world, in my opinion, in the Premier League.
I think it's one of them where it makes sense. You think when Chelsea got Thomas Tuchel in, 18 months, he won the Champions League, bang, there's your new contract.
Yeah.
I think the same will happen with Tottenham. I give him a chance now winning the Carabao Cup. I give him a better chance than beating West Ham before he was appointed. I thought West Ham would be favourites in that game. I give him a chance to win in the conference, Europa League conference. They could win that. All of a sudden, he could be walking away in the summer with a double.
And that's something that they've been searching for. Look, let's turn this conversation